Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people. This is a Squiz Kids podcast. Your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you.
It began as a pub argument about two birds. It has sold over 143 million copies in more than 20 languages. It even holds its own world record as the best-selling copyrighted book series of all time. This is your Squiz Kids Shortcut to Guinness World Records, the podcast where we dive into the who, what, where, when, why and how of the big news stories. I'm Christy Kijarina.
And I'm Bryce Corbett.
Oh, Bryce, what on earth are you doing? There are socks flying everywhere.
I'm practicing, Christy. Guinness World Records says the fastest time to put 10 socks on one foot is 11.91 seconds. And if I beat it, I'll be famous.
Yeah, or you might just have the world's sweatiest toes.
Yeah.
True that. Today, we'll take you through how a beer company ended up starting the Guinness Book of Records, what kinds of records it's covered in its long history, and why people are still chasing them. So, grab your stopwatch and let's get started.
And listen carefully, there's a quiz at the end.
How?
So, how did Guinness World Records begin? Well, believe it or not, it all started with beer.
Oh.
The book is actually named after Guinness beer. You know that dark Irish drink with the foamy top that adults sometimes have in pubs?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it all began in 1951 when Sir Hugh Beaver, the boss of Guinness Brewery, went on a hunting trip. And he missed a shot at a bird called a golden plover. And that sparked an argument with his friends.
I say, which is faster, the golden plover or the red grouse?
A pub argument about birds? Classic. So basically the very first Guinness question was, which bird is speedier, the plover or the grouse?
Yeah, exactly. And here's the problem. No one could find the answer in any books. And that gave Sir Hugh a brilliant idea. Wouldn't it be handy if pubs had a book to settle these sorts of arguments? It'd stop fights and remind everyone of his Guinness brand.
Hang on, the most famous record book in the world is named after a beer? That's like finding out that Minecraft was invented by a sandwich shop.
Strange but true. And to make it happen, he hired two brothers, Norris and Ross McWhirter, who ran a fact-finding agency in London to pull all the information together.
And in 1954, the brothers finished the very first Guinness Book of Records. It wasn't meant to be a kid's book or even sold in shops. It was simply a clever marketing idea for a beer company, which is just so wild.
It is.
The Book of World Records was basically invented to stop pub fights. Instead of arguing over who's the world's best player at darts, you could settle it with a page from the book.
And yes, they did finally settle that first argument. The fastest game bird was the golden plover, which can fly almost 100 kilometres an hour.
Whoa. Nice. The first record cracked. But if that's how it all began, what about now? What kinds of records has Guinness ended up covering in its 70-year history?
What?
So, what kinds of records are in the Guinness Book of World Records? Well, pretty much everything you can imagine. From the tallest buildings to the fastest sprinter to the longest fingernails, the biggest meat pie, or even the largest collection of rubber ducks. And that's 5,632 in case you're wondering.
Wow, 5,000 rubber ducks. Now that is a bathtub I want to see.
Oh, yes. And Guinness has always mixed serious achievements with silly and surprising. There are even Aussie records for the widest didgeridoo and one for the fastest toilet roll pyramid stacked.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I reckon I could take a shot at dunny roll stacking.
Well, if you did, Bryce, you'd need to prove it properly because Guinness has really strict rules for verifying these records.
Oh.
So anyone who applies has to send in a video and photo evidence, plus statements from witnesses,
Whoa.
and sometimes even measurements from experts like surveyors or timekeepers.
So no fibbing allowed, presumably. Do they really send judges around the world to check?
Yeah, that is a job. They're called adjudicators. So big events like record-breaking attempts that you might see on TV, they often pay to have an adjudicator flown in.
Oh.
But most of the records are verified using the evidence that you might send in. And here's a wild fact. Guinness gets about 50,000 record applications every year.
Wow.
Only a few thousand of those actually become official records.
50,000? That is a lot of people trying to get into a single book. I wonder how many, though, were for pancake eating. Of course, I'm only asking for a friend.
Speaking of eating, not every idea actually makes it in. Guinness has retired some records over the years because they were unsafe or unhealthy. Like, there used to be a record for the world's fattest cat, but some people started overfeeding their pets just to win.
Oh.
So Guinness scrapped that record.
Yeah.
And the same with things like the heaviest smoker or the most alcohol drunk.
Oh, dear.
Just too dangerous and a bit
Yeah.
gross. And the longest time without sleep record, well, it was retired too because staying awake for too long can actually cause serious brain damage.
I guess Guinness wants records to be amazing, but also safe and responsible. But if Guinness is so picky about what counts, why do people still go to so much trouble? I mean, what makes somebody want to stack 10,000 donuts or balance spoons on their face for hours?
Why?
Why do people go to such great lengths to get into the Guinness World Records? Well, part of it's pretty simple. Humans love competition. We like to see who's the fastest, who's the strongest, or just the plain weirdest.
We also love bragging rights. Imagine being the kid at school who can say, "Yep, I officially hold the record for fastest sock-putter-onner in the world." That would be instant playground legend material.
Exactly. Records also inspire progress. Some Guinness records are about human achievement like fastest sprinter or the tallest building, which actually push us to go further and to dream bigger. But plenty of records are just for fun, and some are safe enough that kids could give them a go in their home or even in their school. Like the record for pulling on 10 socks on one foot is 11.91 seconds. The most finger snaps in a minute is 437.
Wow.
And what about this one? The most underpants put on in 30 seconds is 23 pairs. And Bryce, that was set in your hometown of Brizzy.
Well, it wasn't set in my house because I don't think I even own that many pairs of undies.
But remember, not every idea makes it in. Guinness has retired records that encourage dangerous or unhealthy behaviour. They want records to celebrate creativity.
Okay, but what do you get if you win? Is there, like, a giant check or free donuts or pancakes for life?
Oh, no, and no prize money.
Ah.
What you do get, though, is a certificate. You get your name in the official database.
Right.
And maybe in the famous book itself.
Cool.
Plus, of course, the eternal bragging rights.
Yeah, well, that's true. So the reward is basically fame, glory, and a great story for show and tell.
Yeah.
Guinness World Records show us that humans love to push their limits, and that the weird, the wonderful, and the wacky are definitely worth celebrating. But, Christy, here's my final question. After hearing about all these records, which one are you going to try?
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. Sir Hugh Beaver's hunting trip in 1951 led to an argument. Which bird was faster, the golden plover or the red grouse? Which of the two birds was faster? Well done if you said the golden plover.
Question number 2. This is a true or false question. If you set a Guinness World Record, you win a giant check and a lifetime supply of donuts. That sadly is false. You get a certificate, your name in a database, bragging rights, and maybe your name in the famous book.
Question number 3. Which of these is a real, safe Guinness World Record that kids could try? Is it A, the most underpants put on in 30 seconds? B, the longest nap during the school day? Or C, the most books not returned to the library? Now remember we said real, safe and appropriate, so that would be A, the most underpants you can put on in 30 seconds.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for joining us as we explored the who, what, where, when, why and how of Guinness World Records.
Now get out there and have a most excellent day.
Over and out.